Hi everyone, I'm Linda Loveland with this week's NC Farm Bureau Report. We're bringing Jake Parker in for this one, General Counsel of the North Carolina Farm Bureau, because we're talking legal stuff, specifically the Property Protection Act. So that was a North Carolina law that was overturned, challenged by PETA, but now we're trying to revive it and we're trying to get it back in front of the Supreme Court. So a really big deal, and we've been watching this for a while. So what is the latest on this?
The latest is we're under very serious consideration by the United States Supreme Court. The court only takes about 1% of the cases that are filed before it. It's a court that gets to pick and choose the cases it wants to hear. So there are thousands that go up. But over the last couple of weeks, we've been in the mix in front of the court, and we're excited to see what they are going to decide. Hopefully they'll agree to take our case and let us argue the merits.
This is such a big deal. Like you said, 1%. So the fact that they're seriously considering our case means that potentially we have, I mean, we're keeping our fingers crossed that they'll take this up. But what is the thing about the case, do you think, that's getting their attention?
It's because the case sits at the intersection, I like to say, of the First Amendment and our property rights. And the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals, which overturned or affirmed the overturning of this law, held that animal rights groups have a First Amendment right to go on your property as long as they're engaged in news gathering activities, a term they didn't define, that they can come onto your farm and do what they want to do, and there's no real way to stop it using trespass law or other generally applicable tort law.
So this is kind of a scary thing, because if it doesn't get reinstated, I guess, or if this holds true and anybody can go on a farm for news gathering purposes, I mean, the consequences of that are kind of mind-boggling.
They are, and that's what we've argued to the Supreme Court when we filed our petitions asking the court to take our case. We have emphasized that the animal rights groups make no bones about what they're going to do. They are going to engage in these kind of activities. They're going to try to trespass on farms to advance their political agenda. We think the First Amendment stops when a farm or a business has its private property rights. That's where the First Amendment ends. It doesn't extend into those other places. And
really, this could affect everyone, all other businesses as well, because the implications, you could go in any business, go behind the scenes. And
that's right. And the Property Protection Act did not apply only to farms. It applied to all North Carolina businesses, and we had support from the business community when the General Assembly was considering it. So it's not just a narrow agriculture bill. It's got much bigger implications.
All right, so thoughts moving forward. What are we waiting on?
We're waiting on the court to tell us whether we're alive or whether we're dead. And so the court will grant our case. It would happen probably this Friday. If not, then we'll find out Monday whether we're still being relisted. We've been on the court's list, discussed by the justices multiple times over the past couple weeks, and that may continue or it may end. We're just waiting for them to tell us the answer.
Do most stories get relisted, or most cases get relisted, or is that kind of a normal thing?
It's pretty typical for a case to get relisted multiple times, and what that means is you file your initial petition and you get put on a list of cases that the court wants to actually talk about, and then they'll sit in their conference meetings and they'll decide which ones they want to take and which ones they don't. And then they have a list of the cases they really want to study, and we've made that list multiple times over the past couple of weeks. Most of the cases the court grants are cases that have been relisted, so we're in a really great position at the moment.
Good news. All right, we'll just keep a watch for the updates then.
That's right.
All right, thanks, Jake. We'll see you next week for another NC Farm Bureau Report, hopefully with some good news.